Hello everyone and welcome to tonight's episode of Fortnightly Frontier, where we discuss all things Star Citizen. I am your host Darjanator, and over there is my beautiful assistant or co-host Myre. And this is episode 403, season 4, episode 3. And Hello. That's all we got.
That is all we got today. I mean,
yeah,
it's only been 2 weeks.
It's only been 2 weeks, and well, there's been a lot of hype going on. But
hype.
Yes, a lot of hype, but not much actual release of patching and fixes and new features. Everybody's still eager to play 2.6, so am I. But yep. Development.
Yeah, I mean, like,
this is why I drink.
That's why you drink. I mean, yeah, I mean, with every single day, you know, people get more and more restless for the patch. But, you know, really, this cycle, we've only been in 2.5 for not a long time at all, haven't we?
No. If you look back to, what was it, 1.1 or something like that,
right?
That patch took forever to come out. But you know, people will be people, and they will complain, and they will snivel. Oh well. However, you know, next week is going to be quite an interesting time because the anniversary stream is coming again.
Yes, so anniversary sale. So
not just the anniversary sale, but you know, they always show us something great, and they have something to give back to the citizens on the anniversary. So I think that even though they announced that the whole stream is going to be very ship oriented.
Yeah.
So probably we'll see a very playable version of the Aquila and the Hoplite, and which one was it? The little very fast spy ship by Drake. What's it called? The Herald. The
Herald, yes.
Go.
Yeah. I mean, like, even though we're most likely getting those as soon as 2.6 drops, I'm kind of expecting more from this live stream. Yeah, I don't know why.
Exactly.
Because, you know, with Squadron 42's first mission not being showcased at CitizenCon, and with that kind of being, you know, the whole thing about that CitizenCon thing, and with all the time that they've had since then to kind of work on it and give it the polish it needed, I was kind of expecting them to either show it this time around, or if they really, really desperately needed to, maybe the holiday live stream. But
which should be about like a month and a few weeks later.
Yeah. Because they've already go on.
Yeah, no, go on.
Like they've already, like, you know, they said, oh, it's gonna be ship oriented, and we're like, okay, well, ship oriented, what does that mean? That means okay, Drake Herald, they've been talking about that a lot, so that's obviously gonna be there. They mentioned that's gonna be coming out along with the what is it now, the Hoplite, that's also coming out as well. I mean, they showed us a lot of the Aquila. I'm not sure if that's gonna be either out or what, but it'd be interesting to see what development they have. I mean, a few months ago, they were really, really hard on the Caterpillar, and they were showing us, you know, like all the development and stuff that happened with the Caterpillar and all the different rooms and stuff. So I'm thinking, I don't know, what do you think they'll show us? I mean,
I think that, you know, even though they have had very good reasons to not give us any footage of 2.6
right,
or Squadron 42, they do know how, I don't know, maybe disappointed is too harsh a word, but I can really think of anything, how much they disappointed the Star Citizen community by not doing that. So I think that we'll see something in that vein,
right?
Even though it's not completely finished. I mean, they did give us a sneak peek of Morrow, the way he looks now, and
yeah.
Holy hell, that is a big leap forward.
What tier of character do you think Morrow is?
So Morrow, like, I would say tier 1, not tier 0.
So yeah,
because he's support cast. Yeah, he's not even in the little grid of confirmed casts for Squadron 42. Yeah, and he's not on IMDb. Has anyone actually figured out who the hell plays Morrow?
I don't think it's ever been mentioned, actually.
No.
No, I don't think it's ever been mentioned. But I don't know.
We need proper facial recognition, so somebody could feed that little clip they gave us into it and then figure out who the hell this person is.
It'd be kind of weird, actually, if that worked. You know, like you took a picture of like for instance, Mark Hamill's mocap face, and then like put it through like a Google images search, and it actually gives you Mark Hamill.
Well, there is that poster they used for a cover of a magazine where he's in pilot gear, you know, this heroic pose on the deck of the Idris.
Right.
I wonder if that would work. But yeah, nobody knows who Morrow is. And whether he's always like this. Very surprised look on his face 24/7.
Maybe he was an understudy for Brent Spiner or something, you know. Like.
No, I'm just referring to the little clip, and of course RTV where they discussed it. Clip of Morrow where he doesn't, his facial expression doesn't really change, and it's always like,
yeah, exactly, like Brent Spiner, like.
Well, he doesn't even move his eyes, no.
Right.
But then on RTV, they confirm that going back through the footage that he was given for the little clip, the actor doesn't do anything. He has no facial animations.
Well,
so
I mean,
it's you know, the whole pipeline could be working perfectly, but you just wouldn't know.
Yeah. I mean, do you reckon that he's actually a main character? I mean, there was this thing a couple of weeks ago. It was like a reality TV show called like Cast Me or something like that, where they were going about the process of how they were casting this minor petty officer on aboard. I think it was aboard that Idris that the Morrow Tour is on. So, do you reckon that like he is a main character, or he just happens to be one of those minor characters that they've picked up to do that one thing?
Well, considering that the Idris, just a normal Idris, they said it has 90 people to run it.
Right. Do you think they're going to be 90 characters, all with their own dialogue, stories, backstories, spouses?
I wouldn't put it past them.
That's true, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's not on, like I said, he's not on the main page.
He's not on the main page, no. So he could just be, yeah.
But he has been featured quite frequently, I think, because he's a tutorial character. And he's just someone who maybe you work up a relationship with on the ship, but he's not someone you go into battle with. I think that's why he's not considered a main character, so he's one of the secondary characters.
Right. So you don't think he's going to be like, you know, mission control or something? Like you do missions and like he's the guy on the comms or like in the screen.
No. Well, if you cast your eyes back on the Morrow Tour, he goes by mission control and he introduces you to the person who does that. So what is his role anyway?
I honestly
being
can't
the ship
remember.
gossip.
Yeah, I honestly can't remember. I mean, like, of course he was there helping you. Maybe he's just like a caddy. You know, he helps you take stuff. Or, you know, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Good question.
Anyway, but it's interesting because they emphasize how, you know, all these characters are going to be so lifelike, and then you'll be able to create an emotional attachment to it. But none of the game is even out now, and everybody is talking about this Morrow character already, just because we saw him in one very, very bad video of the Morrow Tour.
I suppose,
and then a 2-second clip where we saw how much the head pipeline has progressed.
I suppose he's all we have to talk about now. He's one of the very few characters that, you know, is actually a spoken role. People may have grown attached to Tessa, but they've come clean saying she was just an actress. They got in for the day for those lines. She's not actually going to have a main part in Star Citizen. Maybe she might do in the future because, you know, the fans are like, yo, we want our Tessa back or whatever. But I don't think...
it's Josie Wu, so...
It is not. I don't think
it is.
Is it? Really?
Yeah, Sophie Wu, not Josie. Sophie Wu.
Sophie,
Yeah, but it's been confirmed that it's her.
Okay.
It's just another character that she did apart from one of the main characters.
What did
Because she is
Disco
on the
Lando
Squadron
say?
42
Okay, then I might
page.
be misremembering then. But I didn't realize it was Sophie Wu.
I'm 95% sure it's Sophie Wu. So if chat has access to, in the comments, to proper information, they can feel free to correct us. But for right now, I'm claiming that she is Sophie Wu.
Fair enough. I'll take your word on that then. Okay. Right. And she also does that character in the Morrow Tomorrow, doesn't she? The smaller one, right?
No, I don't think that's her.
All right.
But then again, the character fidelity in that video is so bad you really can't tell who's who.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that's just it. Yeah. Anyway, what were we talking about? I love how we go on these tangents, and those tangents have tangents on their own, and then we just suddenly end up in talking about who plays Tessa instead of what we actually wanted to talk about.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we were just talking about Star Citizen, I suppose, and the fact that 2.6 isn't out yet, and hopefully it'll be out soon.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Because everybody's been edging to play. I'm on the edge of my seat right now.
On the edge of your seat.
I'm not adjusting my camera. You'll just have to take my word for it. Yeah. But I just saw a post on Reddit that also gave me food for thought. That they said that right now the development of Star Citizen hinges heavily or rests heavily on the netcode.
Yes. And that is something that just simply needs to be there.
Needs
for
to be there,
2.6.
and they need to do it right. Otherwise, everything else, it's going to be one of the major foundations for the entire game. And if that doesn't hold up, the entire thing is going to, fall over like a deck of cards.
At least for new players. Yeah, for old hats, they're like, oh, well, it's just stuff that we've always had, and it's stuff that we've come accustomed to. But for new people, especially for Star Marine, it's one of those things that just needs to be the tightest thing that's ever come out. Well, I mean, like, ever come out of CIG straight away. They can't afford for it to be, like a buggy mess for the first couple of weeks, even if it's an alpha, because, a whole lot of the hype for new players and new eyes kind of hinges on it. From what I hear, what we hear, from, CIG saying, they're doing play tests with each other and stuff from their little studios and stuff. If it's at a stage where they're able to do play tests with each other, I think maybe it's, at least it's playable to some extent that they can now check for these other, minor bugs and stuff like that. For Star Marine and 2.6, I think that even if the netcode or Star Network isn't really where it needs to be for 3.0, it'll still be okay, given that, it's much smaller maps and, a lot less going on. With Star Marine, all it is, okay, there's still a lot of parts, like each player is a head, a chest, and 4 limbs, but he also
not
has...
just that, he also has every part of of your body has a different piece of armor on, because they did say the new system is going to be modular enough to let you mix and match.
Yes.
And then you have weapons attachments, you have ammo attachments, you have your inventory. So may not be as complex as a ship is, but it's still going to be far more complex than just about any other mainstream first-person shooter that's out there, with the possible exception of Arma.
Right, but in comparison with Arena Commander in its current state, Arena Commander is all that, or at least it will be, but with the added extension of having ships to account for and thrusters and pipes and stuff like that. So stripping away that level at least, hopefully, I'm not coming from any kind of gaming, like game development
Oh
background.
yeah,
But,
yeah. I mean, neither of us has any proper gaming background, but that doesn't stop us from waxing poetical, does it?
I've got several armchair PhDs in Star Citizen, so like. Anyway,
Netcode. Well, but that said, Netcode isn't going to be in, but for 2.6. But going back to my previous point, I think I'm still, personally, I'm still happy to wait a bit longer for 2.6 if it means that more people get to work on the netcode. Then again, Star Citizen's 320 plus employees are not all netcode engineers. So,
right.
Yeah.
Speaking of 2.6 and Star Marine, and just like casting our gaze back to like I think last week's Around the Verse, they mentioned that they were doing a whole bunch of Star Marine testing, and I believe that this week they also went on to talk about more of it. But one of the things that caught my eye from last week was the fact that they were talking about how they had well, first of all, they've made improvements to Helmet 2.0. So basically, the HUD that we've come to know, love, and hate, with all the grooves and bevels and stuff
and the sideways HUD.
Do you know what they mean by Helmet 2.0?
Helmet 2.0, I believe, is currently the helmet is a very buggy and finicky piece of equipment that you can attach, and sometimes if you see in death animations, it will detach and start floating about, regardless of where it was attached previously or where your head is, and clipping will occur. And then, at least for now, the HUD and the rest of the helmet is very floaty. Right. In its attachment, so it's when you get to, for instance, I think it's 250 meters per second, thereabout, it's bobbing up and down a lot. Okay. I actually submitted several bug reports about that nature. Mm-hmm. But, even though those bug reports weren't picked up, I do believe, CIG is very well aware of those. And in the demos of the Helmet 2.0, which is basically just the helmet in the Item 2.0 system.
Okay.
It's been fixed. The helmet is attached firmly to your body, to your view, so it's not floating about. And, right. But it also means that it will have armor, so it'll protect your head, and it'll have attachment points of its own, so your flashlight might be an attachment point. Okay. So you can either have a flashlight or a laser pointer or a camera or something like that. So although I'm just speculating at this point.
I know, yeah.
But yeah, because of our armchair PhDs, we are allowed that freedom of speculation. But yeah, I think that is what they're talking about, and I think a lot of people are actually complaining about how the helmet works right now.
So that's the helmet, and with that they mentioned the new heads-up display and widgets. Now, anybody who presses F1 in first person, they can use their mobiGlas, and they can see a whole bunch of widgets and stuff like that. But and we've seen concept of the new widgets. What do you think are going to be the first few widgets that will go live, do you reckon? I mean, because the star map eventually is going to be one of those widgets on that thing.
Oh, yeah, that's actually going to be beautiful to see. If you have a transparent version of the holo map that just projects from your mobiGlas.
Don't you think that the star map is a bit loud to translate to a game?
Okay, it's not. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be a one-to-one translation for what you actually can access on the website right now.
Right.
But especially the music. I mean, who cares about the music? I mean, you're going to have your own music playing anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I believe the star map is going to be one of those.
Okay.
But in a more simplified way, there's not going to be a background to it like there is on a website, but it's also not going to be as simplified as we saw in the Gamescom demo? With the freelancer and the planetary.
Yes, that was the Gamescom demo. Yeah. That was.
It's not going to be that simple, which was basically everything was white. So all the orbits and all the planets were basically just white, no textures, anything. So yeah, and maybe something to access your porn folder. Why not? But I don't think it's going to be that different from what is laid out right now in Mobiglass.
Right. Okay.
So you have access to your finances and your scheduler, and then and of course ship modifications.
That would be something very nifty to have. I mean, like, you know, the holotable, rest in peace, has been gone for patch in a bit now, hasn't it? And it's gonna be coming back.
It had its uses.
It did.
It in some ways it was better than what we have right now.
The port modification system, yeah. In some ways, you know, it was a lot more practical. In other ways, it was the most convoluted piece of mess ever.
Yeah, that's true.
But hopefully, when it does come back after it's gone through Zane at least, and his team, multiple times, they've passed it through, etc. It'll be where it needs to be. And perhaps being on the Mobiglass might be a good place to be. I mean, apart from if, like there is one in a ship or something and you're not wearing your suit, that's the only time I can see you needing like an actual table to sort stuff out.
Yeah, but, the Mobiglass is supposed to be a wristband that you are kind of wearing all the time.
Like a Pip-Boy kind of deal.
Like a Pip-Boy or like, like a smartphone because, right now you're always within arm's reach of your smartphone, at least I am.
Doesn't sound very hygienic.
I do clean mine occasionally.
Your Pip-Boy?
My Pip-Boy. Yeah, can you imagine all the sweat and the dirt that gets trapped under that? Yeah.
I mean, like, we're going on a tangent now, but yeah, I mean, like, you have these guys who wear casts and stuff on their arms and legs for months, and they remove them, and it's like a freaking, I can't remember what it's called now, like a French cheese shop. That's what you...
Yeah. But what about if you get an itch?
You use a long itch stick.
Yeah, that's gonna have to be a widget for Mobiglass. I currently have an edge and I can't reach it because the Mobiglass,
Electropulse or something. Yeah.
Scratch.
Like haptic feedback, like through the Mobiglass. So another thing with Star Marine that they mentioned last week that they actually have in and working, and we actually saw some of this working in the 3.0 demo in the after demo when they were doing the whole world builder thing, which is actual combat emotes. Now we saw this guy salute this other dude from his ship. Not that guy could ever see him saluting unless we're going to get picture in picture and that's going to work. But anyway, that's translating straight through to Star Marine. Now, I don't know if you've ever played the Metal Gear online elements of Metal Gear or you've seen it, but...
no, but do tell.
I just have kind of... images of that in my head, like combat emotes, just or even Armor 3 or Armor 2, where you're moving, and the Star Marine is meant to be super tactical. I mean, not mega ultra tactical, stand in the corner for days, or maybe it is, but I can imagine that they said here, I'm reading it, this combat emotes are hooked up and allow are now signaling to friends to taunt. This is the worst transcript ever. I'm sorry. I'm trying to read it word for word, and it tripped me up 5 times. But basically, they have emotes now, which allow you to basically signal to your friends, I guess in real life, stop and this is the rally point and stuff like that. But also to target enemies and also taunt them. So those are in. We already have some of those already. If you hit F12 and you open up your menu and you can do that stuff like that. But it's cool to see that
wait. F12? What?
Yeah, you hit F12 to open up chat.
Oh, chat, right, of course, yeah.
Yeah, but in 3.0, they mentioned, well, they didn't mention, but we saw them yeah, this is my excuse, this is my beer, says Darsh.
Dude, this is the world-famous Golden Drak from Belgium.
Right.
It is 10.5 alcohol by volume. It's
Golden Duck.
Drak.
Okay. Drak. Okay.
Drak.
Golden Duck. Okay.
Yes, it's the Golden Dragon, and it is fantastic,
Okay.
but very potent as well.
But I'd love to see actual hotkeying of emotes like we saw in 3.0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was actually going to be my next question, because a lot of these emotes, you want to do them in the split second that you can think of, because a lot of action is very fast. A lot of action is very slow, so you can take your time, but also a lot of action is very fast. So you want to just hit a hotkey to do like a salute or a wave or, a very rude gesture, if you are so inclined. So what do you think is going to be the system for these gestures? Because looking at the key bindings right now, just about every key on the keyboard is already occupied.
And then some, actually.
And then some, yeah, because a lot of keys have multiple functions, modifiers, and hold, and double tap, and...
Oh, you want to strafe left? Oh, don't just press Q, press Alt, right Alt, and maybe Control, and double tap Q. But yeah, I think... I'm not sure how they did it for the actual demo, but I'm sure going forward, there's going to be a menu somewhere. Maybe in the mobi-glass, even though that's not diegetic. Maybe in the actual escape menu or something, where you can assign.
Some games have a hotkey that brings up the gesture menu, and then you select 1 through, say, 0. Okay, the entire number row for an emote. Yeah,
now that kind of makes sense to me, but there's so many emotes right now that already a conventional gesture wheel may not be that useful, pretty to look at. There'd be like a million different things on this wheel. I mean, you could kind of split them down like some games like Smite do, where instead of pressing, or even Counter-Strike do, where like instead of pressing just like gesture wheel and then like you see everything, you press like Z for one thing, X for one, or C for one, and then like you then go from there.
Yeah, but then again, if it's a menu that pops up, how are they going to explain it, since every other menu they're striving for it being diegetic and actually in-game, but then again, the inner thought system isn't.
Exactly. I mean, like maybe that's the excuse. Like, the character you play is very imaginative, and so maybe to him his inner thoughts are real. You're just slightly mentally ill.
Yeah, you have a split personality, and one of those personalities can only talk to you
through menus,
through text menus. Yeah.
It's like your friends are like, "Why is he looking around like that?" Oh, it's his cursor.
Yeah, okay. Now that I'm thinking about it, they could kind of explain to it as being the inner thought system, as it's being called right now. So you have all the emotes. You have, like, for instance, I'm looking at my keyboard right now to see which key isn't taken up, and I kind of not really coming up with anything. Maybe the one next to 1, to the left of 1.
Okay, the tilde button.
The tilde button, yeah. That button we get, so emotes or states, if you want to sit down, just sit on the floor or dance, or which is an emote or anything. Yeah.
Or in our case, left alt, right alt, press and hold tilde, and then like headbutt.
Headbutt the second row, the entire second row. Just
go. You need a separate extension. It's like one of those Taito drum, like those things for rhythm games.
Yeah,
headbutt.
Oh man. Yeah. Okay, that could work. I'm actually getting behind this now, because I had trouble imagining how it could work, considering every menu is supposed to be diegetic. It's not. There will be no HUD, even if you're not wearing any augmented reality device like contact lenses or glasses or a visor or a helmet. You'd still be able to interact with the world.
Yeah. I mean, even where like really complex key presses are, involved, for real, things like voice attack and other things and other quality of life applications do exist. So, if you really, really wanted to, you could say, all right, wave, and then, yeah, exactly. So
yeah, maybe have a key phrase that activates it, like, okay, Google, or, has it for, if you have an Android phone, you just say it, okay, Google, and it will start. But it would be silly to presume that in the distant future there won't be such a device that is voice activated to help you, to help you be as an assistant, to give you sort of like an interface for controls, all the multiple controls for your ship or everything else.
Right.
So you can just tell it to do something and it will do it instead of you having to struggle with the controls.
Yeah, definitely. What else on the news? I mean, the Xperia Prowler. So what news do we have on this Tevarin ship, though? So Tevarin, for those who don't know, is one of the alien races. Tevarin. Train.
With so many different pronunciations that everybody, introduces.
Yeah.
Because there is no guide. I'm thinking that I should just actually, set up a website called StarCitizenPronunciations.com and just have every phrase that is in lore and have the pronunciation there so people can look it up.
But will it be Aegis or Aegeus though for you? I mean, like you're gonna have to it has to be Aegeus because that's how Chris pronounces it.
Aegis.
You see, in that case, you're just kind of like fronting your own agenda. Then you're kind of like trying to force people like to learn things that aren't anyway. So do you know what that ship is? What's its role? I mean, I know the name of the ship, but I have no idea what it is. I mean, and that might just be me being ignorant.
I actually haven't really looked this up, I have to admit.
Right.
But with the name like Prowler, I would say it's a hunter ship.
Okay.
A scout, not a scout, like stealth hunter.
Like a Hornet Ghost, but alien.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm looking.
No, but I'm just coming. This is just me coming off the name of the ship. Yeah.
All right.
Well, or maybe a stealth boarding ship.
I mean, knows? Stealth boarding kind of it works, doesn't it? Like the Prowler. So like it's prowling, and then like it'll just
it just pounces.
Exactly, and for boarding.
Grr.
No, please. Captain, we have a hail. Pick it up. Grr, we're prowling. No, sorry.
Nope.
Moving on. Anyway,
moving swiftly along.
Very swiftly. So, so what else in the news? Okay, so we have the Prowler that's coming out when? I mean, like the concept sale is when? Next week? The reveal is next week, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, but do we need more ships right now?
I mean, that's besides the point. They have so many different studios doing different things, whether or not the ship...
Yeah. You have a point, yeah. Because...
Well,
you have 320 plus people working at CIG right now, and like I said before, not everybody is a network engineer. There's designers, there's artists, there's concept artists, there's graphics engineers. So I retract my statement. It is only viable if you want to keep the current employee base and not have them feel like they're not contributing anything. You have to keep them occupied all the time. So the ship designer guys, sure.
Yeah.
Keep on bringing up the ships and we'll definitely be buying them.
I just made you flip-flop completely. You're like, do we really need them? Maybe we do. It's okay.
Well, at least I'm flip-flopping after careful consideration and intellectual conversation instead of just whatever suits me financially or from whatever other reason.
Fair enough.
Although we're not getting political right now, so let's go back to the topic at
hand. So I mean, so ships are something that, every now and then they release a new concept. Before this was the Polaris, and that was a pretty decent looking ship. I can see it having a interesting usage in the verse, as that kind of
Speaking of, shirts are coming in. Official CIG shirts of what is it like? This you got on the left side. You have a big, nice top view of the players, like a technical view, and then you have the RSI logo and everything. So
right, but so ships. But then again, also with around the verse, they've mentioned things like the room system, and
yeah.
That scared me for a second.
One of those foundations that an MMO of this scope will be based on. Sometimes I'm really wondering whether CryEngine was a good decision from the very start for this game. But when they made this decision and when they bought a license and then in the end bought the actual engine, not just a license, the scope of the game wasn't as huge as it is today. No. So I suppose hindsight being 2020, I think they could have gone with having to develop their engine from the very beginning
from pretty much scratch,
from scratch. Then again, I do wonder at this point or in the future just how much of CryEngine is going to remain, because a lot of the rendering part, the actual visual part, is still CryEngine. Would having programming that visual part from scratch alongside every part be more financially and time-wise beneficial to all the modifications and all the removal of existing modules from CryEngine and writing their own? Which one would have been better? But we are right now where we are, and changing cores drastically like that makes no sense.
I mean, like we've seen, for example, from other studios like Bohemia Interactive and the Daisy standalone mod, what happens when you try and use an engine that is doing something else and try and strip it down and turn it into something completely different. I mean, like in a sense, that's almost exactly what we're doing with Star Citizen and more. But the difference really is the size of teams and stuff like that. But it's an interesting point. But yeah, the room system though. going back to the room system,
the original system.
Yeah,
the room system. Yes, actual rooms having volume and atmospheric composition, and then connections between those rooms acting as transitions for the atmosphere, and then also the entire system of having connective nodes for, this piece of equipment can act as a switch for another piece of equipment, but both pieces of equipment need to be connected to the power grid, and then you have sensors for this and that. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, totally.
You would expect that this sort of system is, to be crucial for an MMO of the scope, or basically any MMO, because you need content that is easily generated, and the only way to have that is with a very solid base of underlying technology. You can't just create code and new mechanics for every time you want like a slightly different, deviated mechanic to what is already existent. You have to have a system robust enough so you can do whatever you want with the system. And that's what's taking so long. That is what is taking so long.
So do you reckon the room system
it's not the ships, it's not because they're lazy. It's not that because they're embezzling money. It's because they're creating this huge, robust system underlying everything. So when they can think of something else, yeah, okay, we just tweak a few settings over here and tweak a few settings over there, and there you go. You can do what you wanted.
Do you reckon the room system is going to translate to the large ships, though? Like the Starfarer and even the Freelancer? Because room system is... Have you ever played FTL?
Yes.
Yeah, room system basically turns all the ships in Star Citizen into a third person or first person FTL. You know, and they've mentioned before, like with the Caterpillar, and when they went through it, you'll be able to do things like remotely, like open and close doors. So, you know, you'll be able to do such a thing while reacting to, say, somebody boarding from, like, you know, the back room in your constellation and kind of vent it, or, you know, like,
well,
or do you think it's just stationed at this point?
I think
for Star Marine.
I think it actually is possible because every room on the station is connected with portals. I'm not talking like transportation portals like in Valve's portal, but it's what the in-engine entity for a doorway is called. And a lot of culling of graphics and physics happens there.
Right.
So you can tell that in the alpha state, because when you're sometimes in security post Korea, when you're passing through from one room to another, there is a slight glitch in the movement or in the lighting.
Okay.
This happens quite infrequently, but it's still there, so you can tell it's working. And on the other hand, there you have some ships where you can also see that they might possibly be done in such a way where the interior is constructed from rooms connected by portals, because, I don't know, it was in 2.4 or something, where, for instance, in the Vanguard, when you lowered the ramp, you couldn't see inside because it was black.
Right.
Only when you passed through it, the graphics from the inside rendered.
Right.
And then when you turned around, you couldn't see outside, it was black, and only when you passed through it, the exterior would render.
Okay.
So, to answer your question, at least the Vanguard, I would presume, is built in such a way to allow for it. It's made with rooms connected via portals.
Okay.
So if the entire room system is dependent on that, sure.
Okay.
But, I'm just an armchair PhD speculating things. We'll have to see. But I'm hopeful. I'm actually hopeful because, Chris Roberts has said before, we'll have such control on multi-crew ships.
Okay. Lastly, I think the Buccaneer is something that they touched on quite a bit as well.
Don't like it.
You don't like it. What don't you like about the Buccaneer?
I'm just not a fan of Drake.
Why?
Because it's Russian.
Wow.
I have nothing against the Russians. I'm just saying the entire concept of Drake is based on Cold War's era Westworld's perception of Russia, or CCCP or USSR as it was called back then.
Okay.
Machines that are built just to do a single function. There's no creature comforts. It's just very robust.
Yeah. And
also not very reliable at the same time. That's the whole feeling I get from Drake.
Right.
So I'm not a fan.
But that's what I love about Drake. I mean,
and I support your decision to be
what
wrong.
I love about Drake.
But
I love how utilitarian everything is, and there's nothing pretty about it. It's all ugly, and in that ugliness is beauty. I love Drake stuff, man. Like,
So
get out of here,
when-
your carrot.
when's your Russian mail order bride coming in?
Tuesday. But
Yeah, well, it's just a preference thing. You like Drake, I like Aegis.
actually, Misk is my favorite manufacturer, but
Is it?
for the completely different, opposite reason why I like Drake so much. They're on opposite ends of the spectrum. Misk is all bubble spheres and like Japanese future, whereas as you said, and quite rightfully so, Drake is more this utilitarian, like Cold War era style. Like just ship is ship. But I like
Yeah.
both.
You like both. Well, but that's.
yeah.
I think they went into the whole different manufacturers thing with the exact purpose of, having different. Well, not tiers, but different. What would the good word for this be? Like, different branches
Right.
of development and of approaches to spaceships.
Okay.
Because sometimes you have so many people and not everybody is going to agree on what is best, both from a technological or from a design point of view. So yeah, you're free to like Drake and I'm free to hate it. I don't see why that's a problem.
Why can't you like what I like, Darj? I hate you, Darj. Your opinions are invalid here, Darj. But yeah, I mean, like, and again on ships, like, I think that maybe perhaps as the game when the game is even out, I think they're gonna keep adding on more and more ships and maybe even updating old ships. I mean, the reason why I think they're gonna be doing this is because with the current way the Hornet is, they said that you'd be able to keep the classic Hornet design if you're like an OG like backer. But a newer backer will have to get the new version if they're buying from RSI. But of course, if you're buying from like a used Hornet salesman, you can get those older models. So as the game progresses, if they go ahead and keep refactoring things like that, I'm thinking that maybe that's going to be the case, and that might be where they'll be generating revenue from in the future.
And maybe once the new model's out, every year or every few months, the old one's model price is gonna go up. Because new ships of the same model will no longer be produced. So they'll have limited stock, or they'll have secondhand sales, but it's going to be a highly sought after ship, which you can't really buy new from the factory anymore. So why not?
I mean, like, I guess in reality, I mean, if you want to like draw parallels, I mean, what's the difference between like a vintage car, an old car, and a new car? I mean, like with Star Citizen, do you reckon like it's just gonna be new cars and vintage cars? I mean, ships even, or I mean, like let's say that they're three generations of ship. Do you think that generation 2 will still be more expensive than the brand new generation that just came out from RSI, or do you think it's generation 3 that's gonna be the more coveted one because it's older?
Yeah, could be that it's only the original sort of ship that gains a cult status.
Yeah,
and if you want one, you're gonna have to pay through the nose
like
to get one.
Like for first edition comic books and stuff like that. But that actually makes me think, because as we are right now, yes, there are a lot of backers, there are a lot of ships. But if somebody really, really, really wanted to kind of like increase the value of his OG ship, he could go about buying everybody else's OG ship and then not renewing the insurance and then destroying them.
Oh, no. Don't give them ideas.
I see it now. I see it. And he'll have the one ship because ship destruction is permanent without insurance. It's great.
Speaking of, this is just you just gave me an idea. If you have one of those vintage ships and you have proper insurance and you have LTI, where exactly does the insurance company get the new ship to replace the old one with?
Magicorp.
Because if the insurance has everything sorted out, they would have like a connection to the original manufacturer, and then the manufacturer has to make a new ship that they no longer make.
I mean, like,
But
there's a
then
saying,
again,
okay.
are we looking just too far into the entire logistics thing of having old models and new models? I mean, is there a point where you just go, yeah, I don't care?
I mean, with the with the what's it called, the old ships and insurance. I mean, there's the question, you know, like, you know, you have your father's axe, you can replace the hilt and the blade and reforge it. Is it still your father's axe? I mean, like, perhaps you, by that token, you could say, oh, because I've used insurance to replace, you know, like said parts and that kind of thing, it's still the old the vintage ship. I mean, like, it's a video game, so there's a lot more leeway to it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Or, you know, if you take an old Hornet chassis and you fill it with new Hornet parts,
Right.
Like
I mean,
all the parts that you can replace, is it still an old Hornet?
I feel like the chassis is probably going to be the most coveted part of a ship, and because these ships are going to be super customizable anyway, I feel like you know, if you have, like, you know, like a generation 1 chassis, that is you know, the rare thing, you know, like, you know, with any MMO, you have like all these skins and stuff that everybody wants. The skin, the chassis is going to be what's important, and I think you know, like an old ship with like the generation 1 skin, but like, you know, like high grade parts will be top of the line, most expensive thing ever. But like, if you try and flog, like, you know, generation 1 engine without like the chassis, no one's gonna buy that because it's obviously gonna be ass, you know.
Yeah. Well, this just brings up all sorts of new emergent gameplay. You know,
Indeed.
old parts dealers, you know, shady people that you can buy, you know, dubiously configured chips from. You know, why not? Oh boy.
So
The future is bright.
the feature is orange.
Oh jeez.
This
No. You think the original Messer was a distant relative of he who shall not be named?
I don't know. Who is Mesa?
Messer is the original emperor of United Earth.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Don't know. Maybe he messes with things. I don't know.
Yeah. It's messed up. It's just messed up. Anyway,
Quit messing around, Dodge.
we've been twaddling about far too long on this episode that we actually had no idea what we're talking about. So I think that it would be just about time to wrap things up, don't you think?
All right. Okay. Sounds about good.
Sounds about right. So
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Sounds about right. So, again, thanks everyone for tuning in, both on Twitch and on YouTube. My name has been Darjanator. Over there has been Myre. You have been watching Fortnightly Frontier, and we will see you in the verse.